Not all good love involves infatuation. Sometimes you just have to admit it didn't work out.
I tell my friends that sometimes we should discuss deeper topics, not just trivial things.
Do you want to spend 30 years struggling with a jealous person? There are women who get offended if no one's jealous of them.
I tell them, look, good men do exist. But then they say to me, so where are they? My dear dating community, welcome to another episode of your podcast. Today I have a great guest with me, whom I'll introduce in a moment, to talk about why we often get hooked and fall in love with people who don't pay us the slightest bit of attention. We'll discuss that and more with renowned therapist Tere Diaz-Zendra. How are you?
Johnny Abraham, I'm glad to be here to discuss this topic, as relationship issues are my main focus and passion.
You know what? Being in a relationship is a real challenge, and it's like a mirror, right? It's always a great teacher, but sometimes we don't understand that, and we get ourselves into things that, well, no.
Terrifying.
But anyway, today we're going to have our carajillo, we're going to chat, and I hope people really enjoy it. Why would you say there's something in us that so often gets attached to someone who doesn't really feel the same way about us?
I'll hold myself back because I have 20 things to say. But I'm going to start by telling you that we live in a time where you believe. They've made us believe that you can do anything, that if you try hard enough, you'll make it, that it's all about attitude. You say affirmations and attract him, blah, blah, blah. I'll use the masculine form since I'm heterosexual, but anyone can adapt as needed. I like men, but it applies to whatever gender you prefer. And I love chocolate. But when I was a girl, there were just 3 brands, and I ate them all. Now there are 2,026,800, but I can only handle 4. But you think you can do everything and achieve it all. So there's a distortion of reality. And I love a phrase from a friend who says, wise is the one who has the ability to embrace more reality. I mean, there's a study out there. I never know the data or the dates, but I swear I read it. That says when you arrive somewhere, 50% of the people like you catch their attention, and the other 50% are like, no. I wouldn't be your friend. I don't want to talk to you. Just like that, for no reason. So let's start from that reality. There's already a significant percentage of people who aren't interested in us. We don't catch their attention. But if we insist on that, because we think we can achieve it, and then there are very persistent people who accomplish many things, but winning someone over love, the heart doesn't work the same way. So that inability to deal with frustration, to say, it didn't work out. This isn't the one. I'm not going to do something foolish. Because they end up doing things that just go too far. It's like, did he say it or not? But why put yourself in that position? That's it. There's no sign at all they're interested. Or there are very intermittent signals that are completely unreliable nowadays. So I think the first thing is to believe that you can achieve anything and win someone over, and that people notice you as like they've made us believe, right?
That you deserve everything.
That we all deserve everything.
Conspires against.
That we can do anything. That if you're persistent, that if you just try hard enough. So there's a lack of maturity. I call it maturity because what is maturity? Well, it's about delaying gratification, accepting frustration, and being able to have the flexibility to look elsewhere and see what other resources are available.
Of course, not resisting reality.
Like you say. So that would be an important first point for me. You can't do everything and you can't win everyone over. Add something to that. I have an audiobook called He Who Seeks Finds. And I tell them, if you've studied anything about sales, sales is like a funnel. There are thousands of prospects. No, I can't really see the names from here. Then some are possibilities. And out of those, you work with 10, one might buy or not. You might stay as a friend, you might stay as a partner or not. But let's see. Saying no is easier than saying yes. I mean, more often things won't work out for us than they will. If I start insisting now, there are many reasons that could make me insist. I'll tell you.
Please.
I think there are some misunderstandings. Look, the first thing is that we have an ideal about what love is and about the person I want to love. So a lot of people, if they don't feel the initial pull strong, I'm attracted to fewer people now. I'll admit it, because with age, and thank God, hormones come down, but honestly, it's exhausting.
At peace, right?
Wow, there was a really exhausting time, one attraction after another, and then I was married, and then I had a boyfriend. No.
Yes.
Very difficult, very. But not all love goes through everything. Not all good love goes through infatuation. Not all good love needs it. I'm just not attracted. It's just no. Not even a little. I mean, there have to be qualities, characteristics. But that doesn't always happen. And there are a lot of people who get attached. I'm going to tell you something ridiculous about that attraction. It's really ridiculous, but I want to say it. I haven't felt this attracted to someone in a long time. If I told you who, he could be my son.
Which Jacob? The one from Twilight?
Frankenstein. I mean, he's younger than my kids.
Okay, well, but he's a heartthrob.
He's a heartthrob. I don't allow myself because I say. But if I were young, I would go for it. I fell madly in love in my time with Juan Manuel Serrat, who nobody probably knows because I'm older now. But some people just stay with you. He fascinates me. Someone because they fascinate you. Hey, but someone who fascinates you, sweeps you away, and makes you want them to notice you. Very different. I mean, that physical attraction because of a certain physical type. First of all, there has to be a certain aesthetic. But many times we are very rigid. I'm telling you, I've fallen in love with people who, when I first saw them, I thought they weren't attractive. I got to know them and liked them. Then I started to connect with them, and then I fell in love. Not my type at all. Walk down the street and wouldn't even look twice. You know what I mean? So that idea that he has to give me that spark, and it drives me crazy. I'm going to say it from a woman's perspective because I'm a woman, and I just can't stop thinking about him. No, that's not being in love. That's a kind of attraction that's usually very instinctual. It has to do with a physical ideal that fascinates you. And if you only like strawberries and you don't like mango, well, try the mango, because logically, you might also like mango. I don't change my very distinct aesthetic because of social reasons. And then there's also something unconscious. For some reason, then the people who drive you the craziest are the ones you'd be at each other's throats with. If you know what I mean, because when you get hooked, there's always an unconscious part. But it's a more primitive unconscious part. And if you haven't worked on it, it's even worse. You get stuck on an ideal that isn't even real. Did I explain myself? I keep thinking about it.
We could see that many times you cling to something or get hooked on something because you want to say, here, I'm the one in charge. But you're not going to give up. I can do it. I can do it. I'm going to do whatever it takes. So you get attached to the project, to the goal, not so much to the person. That person becomes a challenge. They're going to pay attention to me. So from there, it's hard to say that we're starting to build love. It's something a bit more ego-driven, isn't it? Then you also mentioned this part about conditioning, looks, and so on. But you often mention there's something unconscious. And this is where I want to dig in a little. There's this match rooted in trauma and wounds that often attracts you, where you see something that probably wasn't seen in your mom or dad. Or you didn't see it, or you projected, or it's something you're missing, and you want to integrate it, thinking that person is going to give it to you. But it's something you're looking for unconsciously. You're really attracted to it and that adrenaline, but it's because you want to rescue something from your past or heal something in yourself, or is that how you see it?
Look, I think there's some truth to that. The unconscious has an influence, and I think we're all beings with some kind of lack. I mean, we're all looking for someone to make ourselves interdependent. Actually, I say when you're looking for a partner, well, choose how you want to depend on each other, right? Because you become interdependent. The codependent person is the anxious one who feels they can't live without that person. If they leave, I feel like I'll die. And when we're apart, my anxiety makes me do all sorts of crazy things. So let's start from the premise that we are all beings with needs, more or less because of our history and our personal work. But even if it's not from mom or dad, I mean, usually the primary caregivers, right? Sometimes it's the grandparents or someone else, right? They leave a mark on you. They leave an imprint that conditions you, but it doesn't determine you. And the more awareness you have, even though we can never be fully aware, well, you'll have more control. I know I like this person because of this, but I also know that I can't put up with that anymore. Let me give you an example. Speaking of mom and dad, my dad was a charming, wonderful, decisive man, very demanding. He was scary, and he would solve things for you. It was hard for me to fall in love because those men who stand their ground like that, I mean, my dad, may he rest in peace now, and so stubborn. Then they become unbearable, you know? They tend to act all macho, you know?
Let me make a comment here and you can confirm or correct me, okay? But many times what attracts you and what you like at first is the reason that weighs on you later.
I'm going to tell you the same thing. I like a man with those characteristics because I think he's decisive, because he feels a certain way because of this and that. I'm really tall. It's hard for me to notice guys, people who are shorter than me, like in terms of attraction. I already did it, and I already fell in love with a short guy. Oh, it sounds so bad to say short guy. And we were very happy. But does that attract you? Those were also the kinds of traits the men I was with when I was single had. There are one or two, but the ones who are like that usually have a more imposing personality. We still have quite a way to go. I don't know if you agree when it comes to gender issues. I agree. Like a patient once told me, women have changed a lot, and men, well, we have to change too, right? I mean, there is a gap that creates difficulties. It's not against anyone. Look, I'm a feminist, but it's not like I hate everyone or anything like that. No, it's just that we're out of sync. So we're starting to see things that a lot of people are just beginning to notice, right? And accepting that they lose some privileges, but they gain a lot of things. So yes, there might be something that attracts you because you like it, because it was good for you, because you know it, and it's familiar to you. But at the same time, I'm talking to you. I'll talk about myself so everyone can make their own generalizations. Those who scold and impose themselves, like my dad, no matter how much they get things done, I can't stand them. So then I may find it very attractive, but because of my awareness, no matter how much you attract me, that's not what I want. See? So I get frustrated. I hold back and I say, what a shame, but I just don't want to live with that so close.
They're there, but here comes a question that opens up a lot of conversation about the whole world of modern dating. But let me ask you, does it make sense to you? It makes perfect sense. Why? I mean, because you're aware, you know that's not going to lead you anywhere good, but you're still attracted to it. What wound or what unconscious programming or what kind of attachment is sabotaging you from the start? If you weren't aware, you'd fall right into it. Eventually, you'd end up there.
Immediate pleasure. I'll give you another example.
So what is that pleasure?
Being taken care of, call it whatever you want, having someone solve things for me, or when I feel scared and act small. I tell women, come on, act like adults, right? Because a girl crying and talking like, what is that? I mean, isn't society already infantilized enough as it is? But anyway, someone rescues me. Let me give you another example. There's nothing wrong with that either. Here it goes. Is it bad to use examples from my life?
Not at all.
Look, I'll tell you myself. She was the oldest of 4 women. My mom was very nervous. The second one was a bit of a handful, and the younger ones needed more attention. So my mom would get nervous. So I said I wouldn't cause trouble, so my mom wouldn't get upset. Only in emergencies would I tell her, and she would take action. I wasn't given much attention, And when I talk to my sisters, they ask, did they pay much attention to you? I didn't feel very noticed. So when a partner looked at me in a way that I could tell, I picked up on it. It's just that I never had that kind of individual attention before. For me, it does me good. It does me good. I mean, what's the problem? That they give me something I know I didn't have. And now, as an adult, I can give it to myself. If the relationship is worth it, if you make up for it, but not from there. It gives me something I can do without. I can't do without. I mean, there's something it gives me that adds to my life. I mean, that's nice. I think we take care of our wounds as long as there's awareness and maturity, no matter how lovingly you look at me, which is what doesn't happen in violent relationships. They provide for me, take care of me, drive me around, handle things for me, and support my mom and me. But when things get tough, it all blows up and leaves me behind. When she's not being physically beaten, she's mentally destroyed, right?
And it takes everything from you.
Yes. So what's wrong with someone giving me something? I know I didn't have much, but that won't stop me from setting boundaries. What do you think of that perspective?
But you're talking about something precious. However, there are some very fine lines there. I want to dig a little deeper into that point.
Let's dig deeper.
Talk a lot about loving from the wound. And I talk about that a lot in my book. Don't Get Married is coming out in June through Dos Puertas.
Don't get married.
Don't get married without knowing this.
I love it. I love the title. I'm fascinated.
And we're about to get there.
I almost told them don't get married.
That's right. And above all, you get to a point where you realize how you got into a relationship. And you realize that you're looking for, like we said a little while ago, something you're missing, something you weren't given, something you haven't given yourself. Something you want to repeat many times, for example, like how my dad is or was when it comes to defending my mom. Because at that moment, I couldn't. And there can be 1,000 combinations in this.
40,000.
But here you're talking about something very beautiful, which is one of the components that can keep your wound from sabotaging you and instead allow you to simply enjoy and heal in a relationship, which is, I know that look triggers me 3 times as much, maybe even more than if that same man looked at someone else. But
No, if someone else wants me to solve it for them, exactly. Let them be a problem solver.
Exactly. And no, and you enjoy the gaze, but you know you're not going to become emotionally dependent on that attention. You'll enjoy it, but you'll be fine when the attention's gone. How would you describe that?
It will hurt me, but people are also afraid of being hurt. Pain isn't afraid of the gaze. I don't want to suffer. No, well, you know what? Go do something else. I don't know. Go do something else. I don't want to suffer in love. I don't want to get hurt. Look, one thing, and I'm going to promote my book on how to spot a jerk. The title is a bit harsh, so it will change slightly. We're reworking it. But really, believe me, so many confident women come to me. And you say, seriously, I mean, that's not an oversight. Those are rude behaviors, disrespect, carelessness, violence. So aside from getting into a relationship, frankly abusive, controlling, domineering, they don't let you, they punish you, humiliate you, hit you, control your money, don't introduce you to their family. Everything you want to hear, that's what they'll tell you. With bad, abusive people, whether man or woman, I mean, love is going to hurt you. First, love is going to end, whether you die or the relationship and the cycle come to an end. Why? How wonderful it is to last a lifetime. But we live in a world where we can live to be 90 years old. And it's hard for someone to live the way my in-laws have, who are still around, my current in-laws. Because I've had 3 loves, and right now the last one, 95 and 96 years old, they've already reached 70 years together. And who knows when, I mean, that's not going to happen anymore. Yes, it's hard. So either you realize that the cycle has ended and you close it and it's going to hurt, or someone is going to die. So if you don't have the inner strength to know that it's better to love and get hurt, to love well and have it end, to love well and be disappointed. What happens is that a lot of people end up traumatized because things like this really do happen to them. I paid for his education and then he got a girlfriend and went to live with my friend. I mean, what is that? What is that? First of all, why would you pay for his education, right? There's always that silly girl. But you know what I mean.
Since you're mentioning two interesting words, to love well, which in theory should just be to love per se, but people confuse providing with love, controlling with love, toxicity with love, all those silly things with love. It's not love, but even if you love well, even then, there's pain and there's discomfort.
Of course.
And that's what shouldn't scare us. We shouldn't be afraid. But we do need to notice all the red flags you mentioned about jerks and toxic people. But that would obviously fall into a different category.
Getting yourself into a situation, exactly a sick, toxic, violent situation. That's the word.
However, and I love the title of your book, I hope they don't change it. I loved it.
It says patain, I think, but I'm telling you the truth. Let's see, I really like listening to you about this. I'm going to ask you, there are many women, can I swear?
All of them.
There are a lot of women who are jerks, especially angry ones with a bold idea. It's scolding. It's doing rude things for revenge because just like them. So that's being bad. That's not being a liberated woman. It's a woman who's emboldened. What is that? Well, but there are more abusive men than women. Yes, there are. They have more privileges. Like I say, what is forgiven in a man is condemned in a woman. There are many more unfaithful men who are forgiven and justified than women. Men have a range. They can be with someone 20 years younger or 20 years older, like the president of France. They have a range, but women don't dare to be with younger men. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? So there are privileges that normalize abuse. And there are still very rigid gender roles. And so if they abuse, there are complicated, difficult women, but a woman with power. Sometimes I say, it's not that they're dumb, but dumb. Why do you pay for her education? I mean, really? Give her half. I mean, love isn't about giving everything. Love is about knowing how to set boundaries and knowing when what you give is appropriate and constructive. And no, love isn't unconditional. Many women end up getting played like that. Entonces, so I don't even remember what you asked me. But what I want to say is that in general, there are more men who take advantage, although there are some really nasty women too.
Here, and I'm going to go back a bit to what we were building, is many times there's an unconscious part that is, do I want to heal from here or do I want all the algorithmic combinations we talked about? And there's something that makes those people, men and women, not notice their jerk, or even when the other person doesn't pay attention to them in the same way, or doesn't give them the time of day, as they say in other countries. In Latin America, they get hooked. The classic one is, I feel chemistry with him. What's up with that chemistry? Where does it come from? Because it's not always a sexual impulse or desire or attraction. Many times it's a bit more complicated, and it makes you not see all these red flags, right?
Don't forget the question. I just remembered what happened last time. Okay. What I'm talking about is suffering in love. One thing is to suffer because, I mean, someone abuses and mistreats you. Well, that leaves a traumatic mark on you. If you grow up, it's scary. Don't steal from me. Don't mess with my sister. I mean, they do those things. You know, they get married and take their lover along on the honeymoon cruise in the cabin. I mean, what is that? Yes.
Yes.
It happens, but it happens, Johnny Abraham. Well, yes, I agree. It happens.
I've heard thousands.
No, and besides, it's like they brag about it. That leaves you traumatized. But a love that ends, that frustrates you, even painful infidelities can be overcome. Because the person isn't a jerk. I mean, there's another book I recommend. Why do we lie to each other if we love each other? I mean, there are cases where I ask, why do you stay if there was infidelity? If the person was a jerk before, for 1,000 reasons, starting with how they respond to people and how they treat others, why don't you forgive a man who is honest, who just made a mistake for some reason? Okay. So you have to distinguish the strength that one has. Love sometimes disappoints. Love causes problems. Love won't always give you what you thought it would. If you don't have the strength to handle that pain Accept that things can change and choose the problems you're going to deal with. Some people can handle a drunkard, but not someone who is broke or unemployed. Some people are fine with someone being close to their family and taking his mom on every trip, but can't tolerate unfaithfulness. Some people don't mind someone with a wandering eye if he has money. If you know what I mean, you have to know what you can handle. But if you're not willing to suffer, there are people who ask me, but how can I make sure he's serious and will never cheat on me? Well, there are these signs, but to have it signed before a notary, life is very long, and sometimes it ends because it just doesn't last for whatever reason. That's how I explain the difference between being traumatized by something truly abusive, violent, and another is the pain that good relationships cause. If it didn't hurt, it would mean you don't love or care, so just let them go. I don't care. I don't have the capacity to connect. I've addressed that and haven't forgotten your question. That attraction, there are many reasons I would say, and I'm sure I don't cover them all. But besides that unconscious drive, what can I say? I mean, in the end, we are biological beings. And even if you say it's not just about sex, it's that the animal side is confusing. I mean, the eroticism, the force is from those. Like I say, you marry the person you understand and love who loves you. You have a life project together, compatibility. But desire doesn't marry anyone. All your life, you will have to manage desire because desire is really intense. When you're attracted to someone, you say, it's scary. I mean, my friend's husband, I swear, you say, okay, how do I handle this? I find him super attractive. Some people act foolishly, but maturity means showing restraint because he's my friend's husband, right? And I'm married or whatever your situation is. So, yes, animal attraction has a very powerful force, especially in humans. It also hides other things. In itself, it's powerful, but there will always be something missing. So, right, besides, add that someone gave you the eye and you married someone who was your first boyfriend. You didn't meet many people and you don't know if you were attractive or you just had kids. You feel like life is boring. Your body changed. I mean, there's always a reason for you to feel kind of insecure. And that other look translated into sexual desire, that there might be something more behind it. Does it make you feel? Yes.
On a biological level, it makes sense to me. And it's super. I think that's the most understandable thing, at least on the surface. If I like you, but it hides other reasons. Exactly. That's what I want to get to. If I like you physically, if your smell, if all these biological, primitive, and animal things, which are amazing, well, that's clear to me. But here come the hidden reasons that I want to dig into, because I think there's an ego-driven, wounded part, right? What makes it so that person who not only attracts you physically, but maybe doesn't even look at you, is the one you get hooked on? Or is it the one who's so selfish and you're so accommodating? There's an interesting match there, right? Or the anxious one and the avoidant one, and you can't let go because, like I said, it activates you. You want them to pay attention to you, to notice me, to love me the way I want them to love me. That's something I want to address right now. Why we like those people, why they trigger us, and then if you want, we can discuss the chemistry we mentioned.
No, I think the chemistry
that activates and makes you miss these red flags.
Look, I would first say that that's why personal work is so important. That's why it's important to know yourself. So you don't fall flat on your face like that because the force is already very strong. The need is there. But with greater awareness and having worked on myself, I realized I wasn't attracting because I was a very shy person. Whatever it is, and you have more awareness. But I think that in what you're talking about, ego-wise, it often depends, I also think, on character structures. I'm not going to say a narcissist, a very narcissistic person, or someone very hung up on their physical. Like, why aren't they looking at me? I mean, it's like Why not? What am I missing? Like, they should be looking at me, because if not, then I'm doing something wrong. Instead of thinking, you can't please everyone. I think that's when you get attached to some kind of, I don't know what word to use, Johnny, to a sense of lack, but even more attached to a very fragile ego.
It's like you fall in love with the challenge.
With the challenge, with the person. Exactly. So why won't he look at me? I mean, what's so special about her? Besides, there's always someone who pits one against the other. That woman, I mean, the thing she says, that's how you talk about women. I mean, what is that? No, women talk terribly about other women.
Sadly.
So, like, because of envy, like, what don't I have? Why do they call you? What do you see in your wife? There's always someone who wants to bring the wife down. Like something to reinforce yourself. Well, there are the people who constantly need to win someone over. It's like it confirms to them that they're attractive and interesting. Once they've seduced, they don't care anymore. I mean, it's a need. Very, I would say, deep and superficial at the same time. From a very fragile ego, right? Very fragile. Because there are deeper things that, if you discover them, couples can take care of each other. Some couples say things like, you want me to do that because your dad did. Can I tell you something about my dad? And in a moment of trouble, you bring up my wound. That's really mean, isn't it? But there are couples who are careful with each other's wounds. No, I know you feel weak because they always told you, you're stupid, you don't understand, you don't know. I'm not going to say that to you because, well, of course, when your mom thought you were an idiot. I mean, what is that?
But for example, a lot of people in dating touch your wound without saying it so directly. But they touch the wound that hurts you and that, as you said, triggers you. That triggers you. A lot of people think it's sexual chemistry and the kind of chemistry that makes you think you can build something. But it's really just my nervous system on alert.
To give me an example. I can give you the opposite example. If you stand up and say, Tere, sit down, and you say it the way my dad used to scold me, I could immediately say, what's wrong with Johnny? He's scolding me. Or I could say,
let's see, but it triggers you.
Johnny is not my dad.
Exactly.
Johnny is not scolding me. I'm going to sit down.
That would be being aware.
And then I don't start arguing with you. I don't distance myself. And I don't start fighting just to win. But because I'm aware that certain things about my dad used to scare me, and it's not you. So it can trigger me to get angry, and I will control it.
Exactly. Tame it. You told me yesterday.
He's not going to talk to me like that. I'm going to make him realize who I am.
Exactly.
Or he's going to say, no, it's not him, it's me. Or if he does have that personality, I don't like it.
But again, when you say I'm going to tame him, you fall in love with the challenge of how he's not loving you the way you want to be loved, or he's not paying attention to you the way you want, or he's not treating you the way you want. You fall in love with the challenge, not the person.
Yes.
Yesterday, a student told me, Johnny Abraham, my dad was always very selfish and my mom was very submissive. She called her mother accommodating and her father narcissistic, not as a disorder, but that's how she described him. Very selfish. And she says, and now I have a boyfriend who is very selfish. And I don't understand why I'm so attached to this person who clearly isn't interested in me, but there I am, being accommodating. I tell her, well, clearly you're repeating a pattern in a very interesting way. A pattern. But she's hooked and can't get out of it because of wanting to change him, of wanting to tame him, of telling him, you're not going to do to me what my mom did to my dad. I'm going to change you. So she's, as we say, more in love with the challenge than with the person.
And with herself. And with herself.
And more in love with him than with herself.
No, it's more about the challenge than herself. I have to prove myself or I'll feel defeated.
Of her ego.
Instead of saying this isn't a defeat, this is me walking away before it's too late.
Of course.
From his ego.
Of course.
I mean, I have to be able to, but why do you have to be able to? I mean, there's some really deep work you haven't done. Of course, you don't understand how reality works.
Of course.
And you become rigid because you're trying to win your mom's battles. I mean, it's great that we're helping each other so that new generations have different challenges, but not the same ones our grandmothers had. That's true. But that's very different from measuring my worth, my strength, my self-esteem. Whether I can bend you to my will or not, whether you change or not. It has to do with my ego.
Of course.
And secondly, it has to do with not knowing to say enough. I mean, like that idea I mentioned at the very beginning, anything is possible. I'm going to make it happen. Look, there's a term called sunk cost. I've already invested in the business. It's not working, but I've already spent 2 years. I even sold my car. Now, sorry, there's a moment when you have to say, no, it didn't work out. But there are people who can't, because how am I going to tell people my self-esteem is going to go down?
And the famous, maybe I'll pull it off and get them to change.
Right? And the business. And now I'm going to ask someone to invest. And now as a couple, we're going to go to therapy. And no, I'm going to buy some negligees. And no, I'm going to invite so-and-so. And I'm going to invite him to the class. And I'm going to tell you what needs to be there. I'm more stubborn about changing the other person to reinforce myself and reaffirm myself and confirm myself, of course, in my fragile self-worth or self-esteem by proving I can change the other person. I mean, the one who needs to change here is me.
Yeah.
We often expect others to change, but not ourselves. I use this example often. If you have a bowl of fruit and you want to move all the plums that are in there, well, if you move, the plums have to rearrange themselves because you're no longer there. So if you move, the being changes as well. Maybe not. But what I don't want is to move. For me, it's easier to repeat behaviors, I know. Like insisting, begging, complaining, inviting you, paying for you, urging you, forgiving you, than to say I'm leaving. It's hard for me to lose. It's hard for me to tolerate that pain. It's hard for me to set boundaries for myself.
Of course.
You know,
Of course.
it's hard for me to change.
And then here we get to this part you're talking about.
Because I'm going to finish the sentence. I'd rather stay with the discomfort I already know, which means keeping on begging, asking, fighting, getting angry. The discomfort that I don't know. And it scares me because I don't know it. But that's the one that will lead you to change.
That's the best case scenario we all have. I mean, today is a wake-up call that clearly the other person won't change just because you tell them to. They have to change of their own will. And you have to change first to decide whether you stay with them or not, but not by trying to control their change.
Or as a boundary, or by setting a clear limit. If this happens, I won't go to your mom's house this weekend. I mean, if you don't tell him that I'm going to leave during dessert and you want me to stay, I mean, a boundary, that's not a threat. I'm not going to do this. No. So you scold, convince, threaten, cry, play the victim, scold again, and so on. Instead of saying, look, if in 2 or 3 months you don't get your work going, I'm going to put in half of what I'm putting in now, and let's see how we live. And if in 6 months your business doesn't work, I suggest you stay with your parents for a while. I'll handle things here. It's just a boundary, you know? I mean, seriously, this is what's going to happen if that doesn't happen, instead of yes.
How can we ensure both of us are, okay, instead of me always holding everything together? Many women, especially...
But Johnny, the boundary is difficult for us.
That boundary just isn't clear for many reasons that we're going to try to address. But there's one thing that is this intermittent validation, what we call breadcrumbs, emotional scraps, which is, I want to control you, I want to change you, I want something from you. And there's a lot of suffering and a lot of toxicity. And suddenly you throw me a crumb and there's a bit of relief. Then you take it away from me again. Since I know there's a crumb later, I look for it again. Instead of talking to myself, I respect myself and leave. Why do we get so hooked when we're suddenly in this breadcrumbing dynamic?
Look, what's it called again? Reinforcement intermittent, because it creates something like an addiction.
It's an addiction.
Intermittent reinforcement. Why? Because you know it's going to come, but you don't know when it's going to come. When it comes, you feel pleasure and think you're closer to the goal. So it hooks you even more, because it's not that there's never anything, but rather there's intermittent reinforcement. That's why these relationships. Like, he reached out to me. No, but he introduced me to his parents. Then he left for a month and never wrote. He returned and brought me flowers. But then, those things you say, sorry. It's obvious that the guy is just doing whatever he wants.
They show a faint light at the tunnel's end, but the tunnel is dark. You're not going to change it.
Because you want to believe.
Because you want to believe.
Because it feels satisfying. So, we also come back to reality. Sabemos, we know that intermittent reinforcement is what creates the most attachment. They have you out of control and then you get carried away and it feels incredible. He disappears, but I'm not sure if what I experienced was real. Still, the guy doesn't want to.
Of course.
He doesn't want. And I think those things cause some kind of addictive chemical reactions in the brain. Because sometimes it does happen. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Of course.
It activates our entire reward system.
Totally.
Absolute stress.
Chemistry.
To look for that reward. And when it comes, the relief feels like, wow.
Like water in the middle of the desert.
So it is possible. Now I'm going to tell you something. There are people who come above all, sorry for my examples, and my self-promotion. No, I have a book called Jealousy. To love or to possess. There are people who come in with jealousy that's really intense. Hey, but if we go to therapy or if they take medicine, it's because it's already very, very, very pathological, right? Let's see, they can control it. They can get better. It's slow and it's not definitive. I'm telling you about a very controlling character structure, or moderately. Now, you're starting. I tell them, get out. Because it might change, but it could take 30 years. Do you want to spend 30 years struggling with a jealous person? Who needs to give you, who you have to give explanations to, who already got mad and stopped talking to you, who followed you around, who got into your WhatsApp, but who has your GPS? I mean, yes, they change. But do you really want to invest 30 years just to make it tolerable? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? No, come on. No, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Yes. There's still a long way to go. And it's not that I'm a witch, right? I should charge for reading crystal balls or something. But it's just what I've seen in life, the cases I've worked on and what I've studied. I mean, it's very unlikely. I hope I'm wrong. But clients come to talk to me. It's just that you told me he was a sociopath. And he already took my house. And now he turned the daughters against me. 2 years later. Well, that's a shame, right?
Although an essential ingredient of love is acceptance, why are we always trying to change our partner? What are we missing in the process of committing to that relationship? So we can accept the other person without trying to change them.
I'm going to give you some very simple answers.
Yes.
The first is, adult love always leaves us a little unsatisfied. Always. I mean, adult love won't give you everything. It won't grant you everything. It won't do everything you want. It won't agree with you on everything. Something will be missing. I mean, otherwise it would be like one person completely controlling the other and having them subdued, which isn't love. That's control. That's control. Possession, submission. This or not. Because of the infatuation that you really feel. Falling in love is great, but you have to know what's coming, right? But it's really wonderful. It's really wonderful. People who have never fallen in love just don't make really important decisions like that. Because then, seriously, it happens. They've already moved in together. She's already pregnant. And now they're at each other's throats. I mean, they moved in together a month after meeting, basically without knowing each other. And then she got pregnant. And what is that? I mean, don't make decisions when you're in that love-struck state, because your mind is literally altered first. But adult love always leaves you unsatisfied. Sooner or later, even if it's the most suitable person you could want, there will be something. And usually, couples always fight about the same things, either because of the parents, or because they treat the kids differently, or because they manage time differently, or because of money. Sex. I mean, couples usually go back to certain things, their problems, as John Gottman calls them. He has some really good books. He's a researcher in the science of love. That's what he called them. Some relationships have irresolvable problems, which doesn't mean you have to break up. but you have to learn how to handle them. Love always leaves us unsatisfied. One. And the second one, that means acceptance isn't resignation. I mean, you don't want to come, that's fine. Or you come every Sunday with my mom. But I do want to go once every 2 weeks, right? One time I stayed, 2 times I stayed. But there is an acceptance of reality where you know that love is good. Even if some of those things don't work, and as you learn to see what can change, to see what you can manage, so it doesn't become a problem that hurts you, but instead you say, okay, he doesn't like this. I know it's super boring for him. So he leaves before the wedding. Everyone makes sacrifices. Who doesn't know how to give something up? You'll never be able to achieve stability because all love requires giving up certain things, not resignation or sacrifice. It makes up for it in other ways, that's all.
Of course, if that's the case, maybe I'd rather not be in an open sexual relationship. But because with this person, with this traditional model, I get many other things from you. Or maybe I give up spending only on myself, and now I'm going to take on the role of main provider, in case that's the agreement. Like in my case. Because for me, it's totally worth it. Because I'm in an agreement that gives me that satisfaction. And she can also do other things for the relationship. But people don't want to give up anything, Tere. People want everything without giving anything. They want pleasure without effort. They want the reward.
And for the other person to change because he comes back.
Exactly. It's very hard to change.
And it's very hard to change. Thank you. And I tell them, I mean, I don't want to risk feeling uncomfortable and telling you. And I'll give you another example. Look, you always ask me to lend you money. Okay, thank you. By the 4th time, you haven't paid me back. This is really the last time. Guess what? I'll lend it to you. Yes, I'll lend it to you when you pay me back. Or I can't set limits for you. You ask me for 3,000. Since you owe me 20, I'll lend you 500. That's what I can lend you. But people are afraid of feeling like they're bad, of not being loved anymore, of others saying they don't really love. Because you know what? This indoctrination also happens, which is called mystification. A lot of it happens, especially with abusive people. They make you believe things. And there are many women who come to therapy, some men too, but more women who say, you know what? I think I provoked it. Or maybe it's my fault for not understanding him well. Or he's right, because women are supposed to do things, or vice versa. So sometimes that mystification happens and I start to believe it myself. Those things, let alone if they set a boundary, even when you're more or less, okay, it's hard, it's work. To say, sorry, but right now I can't go to that, or I don't want to travel with your parents this time, you know, or that the kids stay.
But see how important this is? We're refusing to accept just because our ego says, I'm right and you're wrong. So you change and I don't. Okay, maybe I do need to change, but it's very costly both emotionally and energetically.
I'm scared.
I'm scared.
It makes me more anxious than scolding you.
Exactly. And also, it requires both of us to really be mature, to have these conversations, these boundaries. And since I'm afraid because of social or family conditioning or my family loyalties, whatever you want to call it, they tell me a woman should do E or a man should do A. So I make sacrifices for love.
Or I'll add, if I get divorced and it's already the 2nd time I'm getting divorced, my family will say it's my fault. I mean, then comes the social pressure. No, I have to stay. I know I have to leave, but what will they say? That I'm strange, that nothing lasts for me, right?
But then I go back to the dating days, to why we get involved with people. Let's call it that who we know from the start aren't right for us. Someone who isn't committed to building a relationship or to themselves. I hear a lot of women, especially those in their 40s and up, Tere, who tell me, oh, look, many times we do meet people, but you know, there's the nice guy, but we get bored. I didn't feel any chemistry. He was a good man, but I didn't feel any chemistry. Ask her, how are things with the one you felt chemistry with? I can tell it's a toxic situation.
She tells me no.
Sometimes he talks to me, sometimes he doesn't. No.
Look how emotional I get just answering.
So, in your book, you talk about how to spot a jerk, right? And we're also talking about why we fall in love with this ideal, with this challenge, right?
No, misconceptions about love. So,
Let's talk about chemistry. What's up with that?
no, I'm going to tell you something about what you're saying. Are most of your students girls?
Yes.
Right. Are most of the people who tell you? Yes.
Okay.
Notice that women, with everything we've achieved, we still haven't gotten over an admiration-based way of falling in love. He has to be taller, richer, more prestigious, more social. If a man earns less than me or is shorter, I lose interest. Even if he's good, if he doesn't take charge and stand up for himself, I'm not attracted. Some still like that though. Hey, someone bothered me the other day but didn't say anything. No, I know women who get bothered and the guy says something and she says, "Excuse me, can I speak for myself?" I can set the boundary myself. We're both at risk. We act, but you don't need to defend me by telling him to back off. So look, there are many women very accomplished in many things, but that subtlety of if he's not more than me or not that model of a man, they really like the hunter type. I feel that societies were largely gatherer societies, and when they hunted, there were also women who hunted. I mean, it has to be more. So if he's good, if he's calm, if he doesn't earn that much, if not, I can tell you that nowadays there are women I've worked with who say, you earn more money and you will earn more. And not just that, you inherited. Or you're going to inherit. I mean, the guy is hardworking. The guy lives well. The guy supports himself. I don't know if they still say gyue because, as always, I'm in another era and another place, in another cosmos. I mean, honestly, they can have an agreement. When is it a problem for a man to earn more than a woman? Very rarely. When is it a problem for a man if the woman is a little older than him or older? It's not. Many times. But I need that sense of admiration. He has to have prestige. Nobody knows him. No, well, it's just that he lives I don't know where. Where does he work? Well, he owns a butcher shop. Where? I mean, he's a butcher. You know what I mean? If he's not the CEO of who knows where, women who want to be with someone. We have to know that today we are living through a historic transition where we are out of sync and we want good, understanding, egalitarian men, blah, blah, blah. But we want them to take care of us, support us, protect us here, or I have them right here. Ta, ta, ta. I mean, you can't have it all. You can't have it all. Sometimes it happens. It's not easy. It's not easy. So if you don't realize that the fact that he works as a manager, let's say in a bank, and you do have your role running a department at the company, the gentleman earns his money and lives alone. He has a son and supports him. And yes, he can invite you to the movies or to Acapulco on the weekends. Or you pitch in. And he does too. No. Doesn't want, not anymore, not anymore. So it's hard for us. We have a model of admiration-based infatuation where good people who aren't very outgoing, who are kind of quiet, don't take initiative, are shy. But they do have it. You have a good time. I mean, yes.
In which you can admire them.
No, and you can actually do it.
Also.
Because the thing about admiration is like, if I, like always, brands of, I'm not going to say any names, snacks with all the chili and your tongue gets like this. Well, if I eat a jicama with salt, no, 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 no.
You won't be able to see.
You won't see me. I'm used to a kind of masculinity that, well, you know, like Pedro Infante, if anyone doesn't know him, watch the movies from the golden age of Mexican cinema. I mean, Jorge Negrete, Those guys. Well, watch Arráncame la vida by, oh, what's her name? The really famous one. I just forgot her name right now. The movie Arráncame la vida, the one she wrote. It's not Marcela Serrano. Let's see if someone can remember this woman's name. That style, very much like that. Very decisive. Everyone respects it. Here, not at all. Not even a bit. Maybe just disguised as something current. Because now, giving those kinds of answers, which do exist, is the most politically incorrect thing, right? But they still need that thing, like feeling dominance, strength. I mean, you don't appreciate other valuable things. If he's shy, doesn't talk much in meetings, and is timid, no. That's why he's hardworking, cares for you, respects you, but is shy. What? Does he even talk? How does he talk? He accepts your children easily, even though he supports himself. That's it.
Right there. Would you recommend refocusing admiration on what the person does have, on what they do have, that it's not just about money or social recognition?
First, I would tell you, realize that this has been drilled into us historically. If we go back to the beginnings of reproduction, well, females looked for the best male, the strongest one, the one who would take care of you, the one who would take care of your offspring, and so on. I mean, there is a tendency, but from there came thousands of patriarchal things where the one who scolds the most, the one who dominates everyone. Well, there are women who get offended if no one gets jealous over them. What's that about? There are women who get upset. Hey, why didn't you answer him? Why didn't you punch him? Hey, sorry, but I don't want to be with a guy who's always getting into fights everywhere, because otherwise he's not a man. Do you see that's a mistaken idea? Like about strength, power, masculinity. He's the most confident. Well, there are many things. Or he has more money than everyone else. It's just how conversations go between men, right? How about you, no one says anything? No, they usually discuss their professional achievements and finances. And if someone isn't doing well, that's a problem, right? They won't say, you know what? My kids right now, my wife is earning a lot, so we're going to move somewhere because she got a promotion. Do you understand what I mean?
And that's something I also really emphasize to men, that they should be more vulnerable with other men. I mean, I even tell my own friends that it's just that sometimes we need to talk about deeper things, not just superficial stuff, because you never know if someone else is going through complicated problems that could even lead them to suicide or really serious issues. And that just is simple.
Or not asking for help with something they could help with too. Exactly.
We could help him, be there for him, or at least make him feel heard. No, that's for weak people. Here it's all alpha males, which is complicated. So I do agree with that. However, well, there are also men like us who are trying to get to that point, just like women. And there will always be extremes, right? There will always be radicals who...
But we're moving forward. We're moving forward. Yes, we're moving forward. I see it with, I have 4 sons. I mean, there's a bit of everything. But yes, the youth.
How old are you?
41.
My oldest son was 40. Yes. We're getting somewhere else. I mean, it's slow. But there are changes happening. That means a certain loneliness and difficulty in choosing for many women. Some because they're rigid, because I want to be with someone. I don't see myself that way since my grandma had a husband, never finished her degree and never worked. But I want to work. I have a degree and want to do this. Well, it's likely that there will be some competition between us. Let's watch the video. And that we might have to choose at some point, just like women who always gave up everything to follow their husbands. I know of cases where the husband leaves everything, though it's rare and difficult, because she got a great job in New York. And it's good for us. Yes, then he decides what to do and how they'll coordinate. It rarely happens, but it starts to. If I, as a woman, am not aware that we are still in that situation of inequality, it's hard for me to have someone by my side, because they are, I always say. And tell me if you think I'm exaggerating. Because my children agree, but I have one who, well, not so much. No, they say that we are being mistreated, yes. But look, if you think about it historically, I say that men are like popcorn in the microwave. There are some that have already popped, already. Here come some others. I trust that most of them. There are some that just stay as seeds and they're already burned. There's no fixing those anymore. I mean, I don't want to sound radical, but there are some that are really difficult, or it's just not going to be your job.
Yes.
Or they're going to die, really, in that stage of development they reached.
Yes.
Well, and there are more women. There's a bit of everything. But since we've had to go against the current, we can, in general, get more frustrated. In general, I'm not going to say all of us. Postpone, have much more clarity, caring for others. Here I am, the only sister. She has to go with the parents and the doctor, right? Just because she's a woman, and she also has to leave her job, right? Take turns, regardless of gender. Do you understand what I mean? That idea has really taught us to do that even more. So we have to understand that men are in general, and heterosexual women too, in a process of transformation.
How old do you think those men are, all of them?
Look, I would say from different generations.
Because what do women tell me in conversations?
40. We're in our 40s.
They tell me, Johnny Abraham, I tell them, look, good men do exist. We're not perfect. We're working on it. We try to be the best we can. Clearly, we're trying to work as a team to be united, and obviously,
To dance to a rhythm we skate.
everything. I mean, we try to do our best. There are macho guys, man babies, toxic types, narcissists, but also good men like us. Then they ask me, where are they? So it's very much in line with what you're telling me. It's just that those little sparks are going off, or they are there, but they don't see them because of their own filters and wounds. I mean, what do you see more?
I think that objectively, there are few.
You think so?
Objectively. I mean, look, you can be really good, but well, I also have a standard. There are people who prefer to be alone, but if you really have a level that's more or less similar to what I can normally give myself financially, yes. I mean, you really sell. I'm not trying to belittle any job, but you're unemployed. Yes, I mean, well, we can all be unemployed at some point. Yes, you have a point. But I mean, I think there are realities where you say, I can't, I don't want to. Why? Why? Because I demand too much, because I fall in love when I admire someone, because I feel embarrassed to introduce someone who is a manager of I don't know what and not the owner of who knows what. I mean, for what reason? But I will tell you that since men have a greater in a world where the topic of choice has become like a love market.
Yes, like Amazon.
Who offers more? Who gives more? Who has more? Yes. Who wins over more people?
Beyond the apps.
There are several things. For women who want to have children, I tell them, look, if you have the possibility to freeze your eggs, freeze them, because men have more leeway to mature, or he's a man who wants to get married at 45 and have children.
Yep.
No problem. And if he wants to marry a 50-year-old woman who doesn't want to have children anymore, that's no problem. And if he wants to marry a 25-year-old, there will be plenty of 25-year-old women who want to marry him. Do you understand me? Even if he has had 2 wives before. Women, honestly, because of the context, you have to consider motherhood. But there are also many women, those women who ask, you are women who are working. Because I would tell you that there are many women whom you say, comadre, help me. I mean, your friend already told you that he's a jerk, that he stole from his other girlfriend. And just because he made eyes at you, you're that permissive, just so you won't be alone. Because it defines them a lot.
Support them many times.
Or so they'll be supported, because love defines them. I mean, you hear women say, yeah, she does that, but well, she's single. And when it's about a man who's doing well, has a good job, went through hardships, did this, met people. Yeah, but he's single. For women, being single is stigmatized, while for men, it's less so. Sometimes even seen as being a ladies' man. She's waiting for him. She's investing in his career, in her career. If she's seeking a partner, she enjoys time with friends and has fun. It's not about celibacy. She's respectful, careful, but not interested in anything serious. Because of this and that, it's no big deal if he decides at 45 or 46 years old With women, you can see it. There are groups that don't, but in the very high classes, wow, wow, wow. In the upper middle and upper classes, it's a drama. The girls, no matter how much work they have, only talk about boys. How boring. I mean, who? If you don't have a boyfriend, they don't ask about your job, your progress, your master's degree, or if you've traveled.
But why is it that it's the only goal they have?
I mean, they don't have anything else to be. Many women prioritize. They make love the main project of their lives. And children, and playing house, and then men don't.
Just to clarify, work isn't the only purpose. It could be joining a foundation or your hobby, like painting. The point is having more reasons to get up. And look,
I'm going to tell you two things. I think life is like a cake. Honestly, I think love takes up a big percentage. Sometimes I'm dumb. Like my dad used to say, I was really dumb with your mother. I'm dumb because when I started with my current boyfriend, it turned out weird. Even so, oh, I'm so bad at this. He's American. He's very nice. But I see that there's something about being in love, like couples survive as couples. In Mexico, we're more family-oriented, more into friends. I know the couple there, the one without a partner. Their kids have already moved out. Anyway, to make a long story short, at first I told him, it's just that for me, honestly, love takes up a big part of my life. But like a third or a fourth or maybe even 40% is love. But that's because I have my kids, my friends, my job, and my personal time. And there are the unexpected things that I love to work. I love it. But I told him 30%, 30%, a third. My kids, how silly. How could I have said that? Why did you tell him that? I've already raised the percentage. I have to confess, I already increased it further. But that clarity of I love you, I care for you, and what we give each other is so valuable.
But my life doesn't revolve entirely around you.
I mean, if you have to leave, if I have to work and can't go with you, if there's an illness, we support each other. But most women devalue or minimize many other valuable things because they don't have a partner. So they're frantic. And it's because society and their mothers push them into therapy and criticize them. You're going to end up alone. I mean,
but then here comes something really interesting for the main topic. Yes, for the main topic of this episode, which is if you don't have your own fulfillment, friends, work, hobbies, passions, a partner, whatever it is, you're going to project all that lack onto the successful man or woman and everything they have that you don't, because you'll want to latch onto that and make that person your partner. And so many times that fulfilled and successful man, and I'm telling you this openly, he's going to notice that you need him urgently. And he's going to say,
wait a minute.
hold on a second. It scares me because you want me to rescue you and save you. And that's when we get to the part where I get attached to someone who often isn't interested in me because we come from that sense of lack.
Whoever searches frantically scares others away, I say.
How scary?
Because if I sometimes remember on some dates that I think you and I are compatible. In fact, we've been talking for 15 minutes.
Yeah, I have a couple of friends who say men tell them on the second date, I want everything with you. I've already decided I want everything with you. I say, hey.
Scary.
No, that's the sign to run away. Yes, run away because that's scary. No, I mean, who searches frantically? Women are more defined by having a partner and by love. Many, not all, but many feel
Having a partner fulfills me, but we're still stuck on that.
in this idea that I'm worth more. I mean, there's still a strong stigma, especially in certain social classes, more in the upper and upper middle classes. It's very noticeable. But in general, a woman's identity is still more tied to love. And even if she does other things, I'm telling you, that's what she values. With my friends, with many single or divorced women, we still love to talk about men. We have other things too. That's nice, but if it's the only thing, like you said, if in my pie, which has so much of my friends, so much of my work, a bit of this, a bit of that. And I don't have the 35% because right now I don't have a partner. Well, I still have the 65%, right? It hurts. I miss it. I miss it.
I go on dates. I give myself the chance.
But I have a life that also gives me satisfaction. My self-esteem doesn't fall apart.
But let's see, what would you say to other women who also come up to me and say, Johnny, I'm hardworking, successful, have a great body, I earn my own money, I'm pretty, blah, blah, blah. I can't find a man with whom I can match. Because also, like you said, that's what they say, because I also want someone who's more than me. So what would you say to those people who are supposedly not acting out of urgency, who are supposedly super well put together and still can't connect?
If you're going to look for someone above you, there are very few. There are few. And there are some who are more, who have this very, very masculine style. Muy, even without being violent, I would say, kind of primitive. I control. I do what I want. We're kind of equals, but you obey me. What would I tell them? Flick. Your style of falling in love is still very admiration-based. You have that rigidity. Do you want that? Well, look for it. There are fewer since we're in transition. Look for good men. Ones you have fun with, who are independent. I always say, if he's already an ex, let him be a good ex, because that's me. I take the kids away from him. And wow. No, well, if you get involved with someone who, when you become the ex, that's it. When you're the ex, you're going to have a really hard time. But you do have to make an effort to be flexible so you can enjoy a good salad. If you imagine, if you're used to that ideology they've instilled in us, historically, ancestrally, that the man has to be more, he has to protect you, he has to take care of you, he has to provide for you. You can't fall in love with an equal, no. With an equal, you're better at some things, he's better at others, he puts in effort. You both fail at different things.
Compliment.
If you can't fall in love with that, it's hard.
Cool. But like you said, even modern women who have surely broken many paradigms still have that conditioning of admiration-based infatuation with the prince who comes and is like, wow, for me, right? So that would be like a wake-up call to reflect and question yourself. What happens in general on dates? You feel like you're not attached yet and just getting to know someone, but when they're inconsistent or suddenly disappear, that's when you actually get attached. Everything was going well until they stopped reaching out or became inconsistent. And then the challenge we discussed started again. What do you think is underlying that? And what should they look into? Why do you get hooked on being ghosted, ghosting, the almost relationship? What's there?
I'll say a few things, but I want to go back to the question. What I mean is that just like there are those women who are never satisfied because of themselves and we scare them. Oh, what is that? I mean, or was it? I don't care what they say, we scare them. There are also others who, like men. Look, for a woman, if the relationship isn't very good, it's bad. And usually for men, if it's not bad, really bad, it's good. I mean, they wait. How can I put it? Women expect much more from love. Men, it's okay. I mean, I didn't see. I don't know. There are women who honestly, like I told you, you're not helping, comadre. Don't allow certain things, because then that person who could improve or question why they abuse, why they lie, why they manipulate, why they leave you hanging, and then come back. Because, if we were generally less desperate for love and could set more boundaries, don't you think men would say, what am I doing? Well, I do want a woman like that. First, I want a woman, I mean heterosexual men, and I want a woman like that. They would really try. But if it's just anyone to the highest bidder, no, I'll take care of your daughter. I'll lend you money. No, it's fine. If you don't talk to me, I'll get mad, but it doesn't matter. I mean, those things, there's a permissiveness where the extreme is that nothing ever feels like enough for me because I'm really badass. And the other thing is, I keep being permissive, allowing abuse. I'm not satisfied with what? And then, of course, why would anyone make an effort? If you don't pay attention to him, he'll pay attention to another woman. Ladies, set clear boundaries for what you will and won't accept. All right, now I'll get back to your question.
And before we get into it, what I liked about what you said is you mentioned that women need more from love and men less. When I talk with my male friends,
And if the relationship isn't very good, it's like we're more about, why not this? Why don't we talk? Because things have to be really good, really focused on the relationship. And a man, like also our evolution, emotional literacy. My priorities, like if today you hear men complaining, yes, there are some, of course. But when a woman makes love and the relationship 80% of the cake, then any little thing is going to seem like it's not enough. Whereas if a man, more or less, the good normal ones, well, work is important, his friends, a sport, and love. Well, it has a percentage that I can discuss, I can talk about, I can ask you, I can set boundaries, but I don't expect everything either.
but don't you feel that both men and women are very disconnected from themselves, chasing after this idea of, I'm going to be just like men, whether it's work or the man, also giving up a lot of things and stepping back and being burdened because they're chasing the material carrot and they don't allow themselves to say, let's talk, let's have a dialogue, let's come to an agreement. It's like, say, you know what? I already have everything. I can't stand this. And the other person feels the same way. So it's become a modern kind of love that seems disposable and like an emotional daycare, as if it's just wounded children relating to each other.
Yes, very defensive, afraid of getting hurt. They don't believe in love anymore. It's going to end. She had a rough time. I don't want to risk getting hurt. But if I go in with my guard up, that's why we said at the beginning, Johnny, if I'm not willing to say, okay, I commit. But what does commitment mean? To some, it means getting married.
For him, it's about a ring, maybe more, or supporting my kids.
Nothing else.
Or he supports my children. I've heard people say he doesn't commit. What? What doesn't he commit to? Helping with my kids. But you have your own kids, right?
I mean, they're his kids.
Like, why?
Yes.
Why? Does he have to support your kids? Well, of course not, right? If he can and wants to, that's great. But saying someone isn't committed just because he doesn't support your kids is a bit odd. So I think there's a very central part there about defining what commitment is. Do we share the same idea of commitment? But every love, even if it's fleeting, is committed. I mean, I'm going to take care of you. I'll let you know when I'm no longer available. I'll tell you when I want to take this step, even if it hurts me and you don't want to. I mean, we take care of each other as people. We don't use each other. We help each other. We give each other a boost, as they say, to keep growing and moving up. But we take care of each other. When I'm so afraid of suffering, I stop believing in love. I was traumatized because my parents got divorced. My first boyfriend betrayed me, and I closed myself off. And never, if I don't work through my pain and fears, I'll never open up to love. And that's how I go through life. So at the first sign of trouble, I can't put up with this.
Of course.
I don't tolerate anything from him. Actually, it's not about tolerating it. But you have to learn to live with our mistakes, certain differences. Not abuse, not violence. But, well, healthy love is always a little bit unsatisfied.
And that's where a lot of people, whether they're successful or not, seem to be, where it's like, I want the pleasure, I want the sweetness, but don't talk to me about the work, about self-knowledge, about therapy, about courses. Don't talk to me about that. I just want it to simply happen. And then they confuse infatuation with love. They go into marriage or a relationship like that, complications start, and bye. That's why it might seem like love is running out, even though love is inexhaustible. That's why it seems more disposable. So,
but it also relates to what I said. Yes, with what we talked about, zero tolerance for frustration. I mean, I don't want any more problems. I remember when I started using the apps, I said, I need to know what this is about. No drama. Well, yes, there are people who are dramatic, but honestly, they have problems. I mean, if you always want everything to be, no, if you're going to start with that, well, that's not how life is.
But then it seems like a competition to see who leaves first so they won't be left. Who's the one who says it's over so they won't be told it's over? Who's the one who's in an almost relationship just to avoid commitment? So this love is a mess called modern love.
Doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere.
But with those dynamics, even if people have done them to others or experienced them themselves, their buttons, triggers, and wounds get pushed. That's where they get hooked. So I would ask you, in what way? The answer seems obvious, but it's not, because otherwise people would do it. In what way can we be better prepared when it comes to dating, falling in love, and a relationship?
I think first by understanding the human being, understanding what love is. I mean, how real love works. Because we're very modern, but we still have a very romantic idea of love. Love can do anything. Love is unconditional. Love always involves commitment in marriage. Love is monogamous. And just now you were talking with someone else who talks about open relationships, which are also love. Those ideas that love can do anything. Love is eternal. And if it's not love, people who break up wonder, what was it that I experienced? No, well, love ended. This happened. It wore out. There was a problem. The person broke down. They got sick. I don't know. First, you have to get rid of those mistaken ideas about love. I would say first, I almost want Angie to help me take notes because I want to write an article. Mistaken ideas about love. Second, I already forgot the second one, but I'll think of it in a moment. What I have developed in my life. What? A certain tolerance for frustration. We live in a world. It's just that he didn't answer me. Sorry, before, it was normal to reply to emails even after a week. With WhatsApp, if it's not within 10 minutes, they just leave me on read. It's an inability to wait, to tolerate frustration. If not now, you still see it everywhere. I went to a place and they didn't have it. I get really frustrated when they don't have the dessert I want. So there's no dessert. I take a breath and I'm not going to make a scene, you know? I mean, there might not be dessert. Life can be frustrating. Some people can't handle it and cause scenes or fight with others. If you don't have the ability to postpone gratification and tolerate certain frustrations, which doesn't mean putting up with violence, you won't be able to build a relationship. Those couples who, for anything, say, well, let's break up. Well, it's over. Hey, sorry. Well, you'll never last because there are always moments when you have to have certain uncomfortable conversations. Certain agreements where both parties end up unsatisfied because if one wins everything, the other loses everything. And that doesn't work. In good agreements, both lose something. They give up something. So that training for life that we give them as parents since they are kids, it's like, I want water. Now I see it. They come out of school. I want water. You stop at the movie. Sorry. You'll be fine waiting to drink water at home. I stop at the corner so the child stops crying for water. I mean, you know what I mean? That's something you train. It's really important to train yourself, to know what love is, to know yourself, to really know what you want. Be realistic, reflect, read. Not everything. Look, I have a clinic with 130 therapists called Psicoterapia de la Montaña. But I always say that sometimes just one session makes a difference. If you consult an architect to review a project, a lawyer because you received a document, a tax advisor, when you have to pay your taxes, a doctor, if your stomach hurts. So why not consult a couples therapist about certain ideas? A consultation can make a big difference. Therapy can change your life, but not everyone needs therapy to change. It's great, but not for everyone. Others change, surround themselves with those it's working for, ask questions and stay open to what they might be missing. So work on yourself to realize why you want this, why you can't accept that he earns less than you, why you need him to be very strong, very manly, very forward, and not a quieter, more timid man. Doesn't that attract you? I mean, it requires self-awareness of your characteristics, your beliefs, your social pressures. My parents just won't accept her for various reasons. My kids will probably say something. I mean, if you want someone who fits in, but sometimes there's an ideal that has nothing to do with love. And your wounds, and to know your wounds.
Yeah.
And finally, I would tell you to know that love, it's going to hurt. But if someone can't tolerate a certain amount of pain and frustration, then they can't love. Because in order not to suffer, you have to either not enjoy or only enjoy things in a very superficial and trivial way, or just satisfy, as you say, immediate needs. That's why they always need more.
Yeah.
But more food, but more drugs, but more challenges, but more work, but more friends, but more parties. Because it has to be something immediate. I can't stand waiting for the good things. There are really good things that take time to develop slowly.
Yes.
And I think that if you don't have the ability to tolerate certain discomforts, to know how to deal with frustration, to know how to wait and invest without investing too much foolishly, you're not going to build a good relationship.
And I love it because a beautiful relationship isn't luck. It's not something that just happens magically because the cosmos aligns or because my horoscope told me so. It's a matter of skill, preparation, and
Time, Johnny.
time.
You can't truly know someone in a week.
And above all, a lot of time invested in you to be better prepared for that match, that date, that first rush of falling in love, that beautiful relationship that, as you said, doesn't have to last forever to be beautiful. Just make sure that while it lasts, you both give your best, the best version of yourselves, and keep improving. Because if you don't, you won't experience that beautiful love, and later you'll go through a series of complications that can last a lifetime and very complicated divorces, and the children pay the price. So I think those things you're reminding us of today are very important. It was a pleasure talking with you, Tere. It was a pleasure being here with all of you today as well. I ask that if you like it, let us know with a like, so that more people can see this video. Also, please subscribe to the channel because I don't want you to miss any of the other episodes with guests like Tere. And don't forget to share it because there are people who are on this journey of growth and awakening who want to improve their relationships. And sometimes, as Tere says, a consultation isn't necessary, although many times it is. And an episode like this can open the door to a new beginning for them. So let us know what you take away from this. And above all, Tere, thank you so much for being here. Your warmth, your wisdom, and above all, your time for being here.
Thank you.
See you in the next episode. Thank you. Thank you.